Yeah. And just make sure you press record or whatever.
Good. got the thumb. No mai, whakarongo mai to my first guest of 2025, and we're hitting it off with a banger. The old cuz, big man, Eugene Bareman. How are you?
Thanks for that introduction. But, yes.
What should I have said, Ngāti Whātua?
Big man on his way to being a small man again. That's what
Yes. I kind of mean like big dog, you know?
Oh, okay.
Just like more demeanour rather than size, physical size.
Yeah, no, good to be here.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on. We might as well get straight into it. A lot happening at the gym. We're pretty busy at the moment. Obviously, you are the coach and owner of City Kickboxing, one of the best, or the best gym in the world. I would say Aotearoa, but we've completely outreached that now. And it's a busy time at the moment. We've got a few guests in our doors. Who have we got?
Yeah, obviously Alex Volkanovski's there just to join the boys and help bolster up, you know, the atmosphere on the mat. And then there's been a few coming through, like Rob Wilkinson, who's a previous winner of the PFL. I think twice maybe won the PFL.
Yeah.
And then obviously Robert Whittaker came through like a week ago or something.
Yeah, he bought Jacob Malcoonan, eh?
He bought Jacob Malcoon as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been a few guys just coming in. I guess it's the start of the year.
Yeah.
And everybody just wants to, you know, they want to just get into the environment and get amongst the atmosphere. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Is that sort of like us strengthening the connection? We've always had like a pretty good community in like the Oceania between Australia and New Zealand in the MMA kind of scene, but are we strengthening that now, you reckon? We're opening up more doors for us to cross-train?
Yeah, well, I think as the gym's got bigger, our network has got bigger, and, you know, the sheer amount of people that we kind of cross paths with has got bigger. I think the same old rule still applies at the gym where, you know, to be a part of the integral part of the team, like the fight team and stuff, you still have to come through someone.
Yeah.
Whether it's 2 or 3 times removed, someone that knows someone that knows someone.
Yeah.
I think that still applies, and I think that's just a rule. You know, like a rough guideline that I always use, because then that way you always have someone to vouch for that person.
Yeah.
And vouch for them, I just mean, like, just make sure they're not a dickhead.
Absolutely.
But then you've got someone that knows them, you know? And so it keeps the environment, like, cool. You make sure you get the right people through the door because there's someone that you know that's vouched for them and said, nah, he's good, trains hard, it's good attitude, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And, I mean, you've got such a successful team. Do you think that's a testament to being prioritising that kind of ethos within the gym, making sure that you don't let dickheads into the gym and therefore it kind of ruins and disrupts the team ethic? For
sure. Obviously, like, we Kiwis and Aussies, have a particular type of character, right? Yeah. And so it just attracts other people like that, you know. If you put a room full of good people together, then it seems to attract the same sort of people. Not to say that, you know, there's not people in there that come from, you know, different and diverse backgrounds and stuff. But even if you get someone from the wrong side of the tracks, but he's a genuinely good person, when you surround that person with other good people, even though there might be a bit, you know,
yeah,
that environment just changes them and they end up being a good person anyway because you're surrounded by those people. So
we've seen a couple of those, I feel.
Yeah, we got a few.
We've got a couple of changed people.
Yeah, we won't name any, but yeah.
But it's awesome now, I guess, like, one thing that I think City Kickboxing is well known, and I'll bring up the story from when we were over in Dublin for my Bellator fight, and we had Yaroslav Amasov come into the workout room when you and I were doing pads. Yeah. And he came up, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people come up to you, obviously referencing you as like Izzy's coach and that kind of thing, and you're well known in your own retrospect. But he came over, and one thing that I remember him saying was, your gym seems like family. Obviously, there was a bit of, he's Ukrainian, so there was a bit of a language barrier, but he was like, I don't want to come over to your gym because it's like a bunch of great guys and you've got all the UFC fighter, but it seems like you guys do stuff outside of the gym and it seems like a family. And I love that was like what you were kind of known for in a sense. What do you think that's a testament to?
Well, I think that's like a more like we've built the gym around our culture, like the culture of our area.
Yeah.
You know, like we're a Polynesian Māori country and city, and just Kiwis in general. Like they're very like family orientated like people, and yeah, that's just a crossover from that. So we've kept it very tight. I mean, like it's not that. You know, it's just the way that we do it. It doesn't mean it's the right or the wrong way, because there's other successful environments that are very successful as well, where you just basically pay money.
Yeah.
You go there and you pay your percentage to the gym. You come in and come out. That's another setup, and that's produced, like champions. But for our environment, all the way over here where we're a little bit isolated, I just think that having a gym like that just works the best for us.
And it does, obviously,
so.
You can see. Winning those international awards and stuff and getting recognised for things like being the best gym in the world. What was that? Is that sort of like, I know for you it doesn't really mean that much. I know you're always pushing for the next thing and you just want to see like people win fights and kind of do better as a team. But was it cool to know that our small little country, like you're saying, that's recognised for family, and that ethos sort of got you to the point of being recognised for being the best gym in the world 2 years in a row?
Pretty cool. Like it because your main goal is just success, right? You just and you just want each person that comes to you, you want to build them and get them successful and help them achieve their goals. And then, you know, you're never really focused on like, we've no one ever focuses on we're going for the team award, or that's what we're trying to do. But as a result of everybody, all that hard work, and then all those individuals working together, to be recognised as like a great team overall is pretty cool, even though that wasn't like the focus of what we were trying to do. And just not to mention, like, it's tough. We're New Zealand, like we literally, and the next country to our left is Antarctica. You know what I mean?
They
like,
leave us off maps.
Yeah, 100%. We're not even
that
on
we
some.
Exist.
There's kids out there all around the world learning that the buck stops at Australia, and there's nothing beyond that. So like, it's just tough because we're just at the bottom of the world and we don't have the resources and stuff and that. And so then to kind of climb the ranks and get to be recognised as one of the best teams and gyms in the world is pretty cool, considering like our size and where we come from.
Yeah, it's mean, and it's been to see, and I think you've been a massive integral part of that. And you can see when we talk, and we have talked about it in the past, kind of just that trickle down effect of when you see people from this little country and from even Australia doing well, it trickles down into the population of people that are navigating and gravitating towards MMA and getting involved in the sport. And we constantly each year have like more and more people, our team's growing, we've got other people overseas getting signed and that kind of thing. Has it been cool to watch that growth of the Oceania MMA scene firsthand, if anything?
Real cool.
Yeah,
real cool. There's still a ways to go, but it's moved massively. Like, man, like now, you know, like I had an MMA fight in a bar, and they put black cellophane or black curtains on the windows so that we wouldn't get caught doing what we were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now look at it.
Yeah.
We have shows down at Victor Arena and stuff. In a very short time, it's gone from a fringe sport that people didn't really know about, and they kind of look down with that old school mentality. Oh, in a cage, just brutal like thugs and stuff. Yeah. It's moved from that into the mainstream. Now it's like a legitimate sport. It's recognised. You know, Israel got Sportsman of the Year, and then I got nominated for a Halbergs. That's alongside the mainstream sports that have been around for 100, 150 years. Yeah. And in a short kind of, 10 to 15 years, the MMA's sitting alongside those sports. So, yeah, that's tremendous progress.
So cool.
For us, yeah. Speaking
about Israel, we are 10 days out as per the American calendar, 10 days out, from his next fight, headlining UFC Fight Night over in Saudi Arabia in Riyadh. It's his first non-title fight in 5 years.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Is that different? Is there anything that changes?
Yeah, I mean, nothing that changes in the preparation and stuff. Like, you just, all those fights, the goal is to train as hard as you can and, you know, cross your T's and dot your I's. But I think mentally it changes a little bit. I think, like, you're going to... The pressure of fighting for a title because you're the best in the world or the second best in the world is, like, crazy.
Yeah.
You're at the very tip of the mountain and you're the two best guys.
Yeah.
And that pressure and everything that comes with that, you know, all the fame, fortune, the crowds, everything that pressure is, like, unreal. And to step down a little bit and just say, like, well, now you're not in that one of those two positions. You're just, like, in a contender fighting another really good guy, you know, in that kind of top 15 bracket. You know, there's still a lot of pressure there, but nothing like that. Those two top dogs up the top.
Yeah.
That's a different level of pressure. So it's cool to come back a little bit. I think that Israel's relishing that a little bit. There's not so much on the line. And I think he's enjoying that. I think mentally, he hasn't taken off the gas in terms of the training and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think mentally it's relieving for him.
And you kind of get back to what I'm assuming, just enjoying the sport again. Like, I think at the top, by the looks of things, you not forget, but you do get a bit caught up with, like, okay, this is the destination, but you kind of forget that, like, oh, like, we get to do what we love as a job and we get paid a lot of money for it, and we get to enjoy these experiences of getting flown over to random countries and doing cool things. Like, I think that is kind of exciting for me to watch as a teammate as well. Yeah, which is cool. And
you're 100% able to reflect on that a little better when there's not so much pressure.
Yeah.
When there's heaps of pressure, you're just so focused.
Yeah. We've got some other great fights coming up too. Daniel Hooker versus Gaethje, which is exciting. March 7th. Am I tripping? 7th.
You got a better idea.
Yeah. I know it's at T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah.
But that's exciting. Like, obviously, I would say, to be honest, out of everyone, Dan's career is one that I've followed a lot more. And just, like, the people that he's beaten, the things that he's done, amazing. And then this sort of seems like the closest thing to a title, in a sense, that we've gotten to, and just like a straight run from here. Gaethje is a fantastic name. What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, no, it's like, I mean, no, this is what we do, man. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. It's just what we do. That's what Dan. That's what Dan does. Dan just fights the best guys in the world, and you know, sometimes he comes out on top and sometimes he doesn't, but then he just climbs back on the horse and does it again. You know, that kind of, for me, you know, that statement kind of personifies Dan. If any fighter out there wants inspiration in terms of looking at a guy who's done this and had the ups, had the downs, another down, another up, you know, he's been through the full roller coaster, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what's inspiring about Dan for any fighters, because there's a lot of fighters out there who go through the same thing. You know, they get a couple of losses and they get down and they think, how are you ever going to climb back from here to the top of the world? Well, Dan's done it several times. You know
he keeps doing
Dan's done it several times and he always comes back and gets near the pinnacle. But I guess now for the job for us now is, you know, is to capitalise more on Dan being, you know, in this top echelon. He's worked his way back to, you know, where he should be and where we know that he deserves to be. But we really have to capitalise on the opportunity now and not let it slip away. So, yeah, I love the fight. It is what it is. Like, for the last however many years, I've always had, you know, I think City Kickboxing had 11 fighters in the UFC, and I think 6 of them have been in the top 15 constantly. You know, that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
What it also means is you're constantly under pressure.
Yeah. To produce something.
Yeah, because it's always a top 15 fight, you know.
Yeah.
There's, you know, there are great fighters in the UFC, but there's definitely a slight discrepancy between the 1 to 15 and the rest.
100.
You know what I mean? So when you're in the top 15 so constantly, you're always in a massive, you know, fight that sits on a knife edge.
Yeah.
So you just get used to that pressure, and Dan's just in another one of those. Like it's another top guy, so it's going to be interesting.
Some good things coming out, and someone who's just sort of broken well past the top 15 and is now looking at the top 5, Carlos Olberg versus Jan Blachowicz. Like that, again, is just, and watching his come up, obviously the guy is like pretty flawless in the check hook finishes and these things like that, but then, you know, there's a big separation. I think a lot of people like, you get to the UFC, that's all well and great. You're starting again. You're starting all over again. You now have to work your way up and then cracking the top 20, cracking the top 15, cracking the top 5. There's just big leaps, like step up, step up, step up. This is like another big step up, but I'm excited for it. I'm sure you are too.
I mean, Carlos's career in terms of, you know, taking that step up each time has been like a perfect representation of that, right? They just keep putting in gradually better and better guys, and he just keeps coming out on top, which is like perfect. That's how you want it. Carlos has been going like this.
Yeah. To
contrast that with Dan goes like that, and then he goes like that, and then he goes like that. And Carlos has just gone like that. So that's like the contrasting type of career path. So, and again, this will be the best opponent he's ever fought.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jan Blachowicz. I think former champion, I think.
Yeah.
Or at least challenger.
He was a champion for a little
And just a very tough, like, veteran. And Carlos will have to be, like, in peak physical and mental form to beat him. But, you know, Carlos is a big believer that this is his time.
Yeah.
And so I think there's going to be some... I think it's going to be a big fight for him.
Me too. Can't wait. Sort of moving a little bit away from, I guess, the fights. I'm so excited. We've got so much going on at the gym at the moment, and you can see the atmosphere is buzzing. And then with people like Bobby Knuckles and Alex and stuff coming over. Saw Frankie's face rock up the other day as well, which we're never too happy to see that guy come in, but you know something's happening when that guy's made it in. But something else that has been kind of happening behind the scenes or a little bit alongside it is Walking Without Fear Trust, and creating the charitable trust that is Walking Without Fear around education and understanding of what you call the coward's punch. Please tell us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, that obviously, you know, that comes out of the tragedy that we all suffered at the gym, the loss of one of our very close brothers and friends at the gym. And I guess we just didn't want to kind of, obviously we're always going to honour Foal and we're always going to remember him, and, you know, at the important times during the year and stuff, but we just wanted to do more than that.
Of course.
And so we wanted to focus that on taking sort of preventative steps to stop that crime from having other victims. We're mainly thinking about that. We're mainly thinking about what we went through and what can we do to prevent someone, other family and some other group of friends from going through this. And that's what kind of the trust was born out of. I got all the boys together. We discussed it, and we all decided as a group that we wanted to do more in Foal's like honour. And so we started the trust. And just tell you what, it's a lot of work to get a charitable trust up and running. I had no idea, but we eventually got it up and running. And then we piloted some really cool talks around coward punch awareness and prevention. And we've been to quite a few schools already. And it's been a real hit. It's been a success, you know. You get Israel and Kai in front of, you know, 400, 800 kids. Everyone's paying attention because who they are. But the more important thing is we're using those boys to get across our very important message, and that's just bringing awareness of that abhorrent crime and ways to influence your friends so that they don't go down the wrong path and perhaps become someone that considers something like that.
Positive, 100%. Yeah. And I think it's like another thing to note of just that emphasis on, like, if you see something like that happening, the last thing you should be doing is pulling out your phone and filming it. It should be making sure that obviously the people involved are safe and alerting the authorities that need to be alerted. Like, that would be for first and foremost. But it's so cool to see you guys going around to these schools and almost using this as a way to, like, heal as well, like heal from what happened. It was a massive tragedy. The Vake family, obviously a very close, tight-knit family, and obviously leaving behind Fa's beautiful daughter as well. It was a big loss to the gym, and kind of trying to spin it into something positive and leave a legacy, but also allow the boys to like do something beyond themselves and give back is really cool.
Yeah, it's what whenever we have a date to go and see a school, I get no hesitation at all from anybody who's involved, whether it be Israel, Dan, it doesn't matter who it is, Carlos, everybody's like, yeah, they know that it's important work and they know that it needs to be done. And there is a part of that it does kind of like put you at ease a little bit as well. It's it's a chance to reflect back on Fo and his life. It's just a chance to bring that back home. And if you have opportunities to do that, to like that spark that in your head and remind you of some better times with your friend, then why wouldn't you take those opportunities? Yeah. Beautiful.
Love it. Yeah. Well, we're going to leave it at that. I think that's awesome. I really appreciate you coming in, Eugene, and having a chat to us. We kind of know where to follow you. If you don't already, guys, I don't know what's going on, but Eugene himself doesn't have the social media, but City Kickboxing does, of course. We have the beautiful gym here in Tamaki Makaurau. If you ever want to sign up, you have to go through the proper requirements to do so, but please do. We've also got Alta that comes through, Walking Without Fear Trust as well on social media if you want to follow those or get involved in any way. You can find that there. Anyone else you want to shout out?
Just you, Janay Harding. Just you. Almost took a boxing fight at the start of the year. I had to talk her out of it, people. I had to talk her out of it.
Almost had to take a couple of weeks off, mahi.
She's getting the spark in her eye. She wants to come back. That's what that. When I got that message, I was like, oh, she still wants to fight. She hasn't.
I was honestly this
yet.
Close. It was the 6 weeks that I was like.
Nah, just you. Thank you for everything that you bring to the gym, and thank you for inviting me on this. It's cool.
Appreciate it. Me.
Cool.
Cheers.